Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you all for being here this morning. The weather's a little better. Maybe it's easy to get out early. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
All right. I tell everybody over here that we're telling people go up there and speak. I said, turn the mic. What do? I don't turn the mic. Okay. We're going to start our flag. That's mine. There it is. Right there. Everybody be right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Vice President Arnie, are you here? Introduce our guest. Where are you, Arnie? No, Arnie. There you are. Okay. You're here yet? Still. You're here from eternal life. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to announce our guests. Okay, how about this? Can you hear me now? Okay, great. I'll announce our guests and please hold your applause till the end. Thank you. Ed Saul, Deputy Secretary for Emily Schlossberg's office. Howie Zimmerman, Palm Beach County Appraiser's office. Linda Cherry, intern for Emily Schlossberg's office. Dana Ackerman-White, aide to Senator Commissioner Kerner. Mike Pratt, Palm Beach County Appraiser's office. Juanita Gomez, intern for Emily Schlossberg. Okay, looks like Diana Johnson, Executive Administrator for the Clerk and Controller's office. Leslie Schreiber, Sheriff Bradshaw's office. Jessica Salona, Senator Rader's office. Jenny Caesar, Congresswoman Lois Frankel's office. Rosemary Raymond, Lake Worth Drainage District. Okay, Ramsey Bulkley, Executive Director of Planning and Zoning and Building Department. Harry Rauscher, Lake Worth Drainage District. Laura Corey, Regional Rep, South Florida Water Management District. Chris Keene, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Sean Reed, Palm Beach County Water Utilities. Thank you all. Oh, excuse me, Karen Brill, School Board, Palm Beach County.
Well, it's that time of the year again, and last month I spoke to you briefly about elections in the Alliance. Half the board gets elected every year, and this year is no different. We have a working board, volunteers, anyone that volunteers who may want to run for a board, will have to consider that they'll have to do work with the board. We're a small board, and we use everybody we comes on the board. We're having the election in March 1st. Anybody who wants to appear and speak at that time will just contact me and send me a resume, and I'll make time for them to speak. Everybody gets a couple of minutes. The current board members, hold on. Okay, the current board members running is Norma Arno, who takes care of all our catering and all the events outside. Arno Katz, who you just met. He's Carol Clauser, taking care of the front desk. Debbie Bornstein, our treasurer. And me, I do nothing. Everybody has indicated to me they have that intent to run. And so with that, we'll call on our captain, who we usually call first because we want him to get back on the street and catch all those bad guys. Captain Ken.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Yep. Getting better at this, ain't
You remember the tilt.
I still can't see anything, but I talk. Glad to see you all again. Let me give you a couple of quick updates on a couple of good things that have been happening over the last couple of months since we've seen each other. First off, let me start with the 2018 District 4 action, the Holiday Action Plan. This plan was in place from November 21st through January 1st of 2019. Before I go any further on some of the stats we had approved, I want to say thank you to the COPs and the volunteers. Again, I can't stress how important it is that your presence have a big impact on our mission. Okay, so thank you. Thank you. You deserve it. All right, with that, our goal was to really impact the plazas for the holiday season, and we did just that. 3 arrests, 1,242 business and residential checks, 50 traffic stops, 122 traffic citations, well deserving, I might add. 220 written warnings, 10 hours of unmarked patrol cars. We had 101 field interview reports and 336 hours of the SkyCap. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Don't tell nobody the secret. But we have surveillance cameras that monitor live for us in certain locations. So I know the Delray Marketplace has been affected, and a lot of people have asked about it. So just rest assured that we're watching it. All right, let me, one area of significance I want to tell you guys was from last year, we did a comparison of last year to this year's results on the action plan. We went from 31 vehicles to burglaries from 2017, beginning of 2018, down to 16. That's a significant drop in that period of time for the burglaries. I'd like to report we've had no violent crimes for the holiday season once again. Okay, and I contribute that to the hard work of everybody else. And we brought our overall thefts down about 10%. So we did good. We did, and I thank you all for the support. One last thing I have is, over the county, over the last 18 months, we've had 76 cases of tires and rims being stolen, primarily off of the Toyota Camrys in the county. We're doing a joint venture with our South Florida Task Force. All the districts are involved. We at District 4 have been impacted by 13 of the 76. They're working very hard, so what I ask of you is this. Please consider the locking mechanisms on your tires and your rims. If you own a Toyota Camry, these are the vehicles of choice. I don't know what it is with the rims and the tires, but if you could consider going out and getting the locks, put them on the vehicle. Very difficult to stop. They're working in a crew. They're coming in almost like a pit crew, and they're out. So just rest assured that we're working real hard to solve this. We have a couple of good leads on this. I'm confident that we're making some good headway on it, but recognize that it's happening here in District 4. Any questions, any follow-up on that, please don't hesitate to call me. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Well,
Yeah, Bob, Mary Lou has a conference call at 10 o'clock.
I'm going to
So
call
she'd
on,
like to-
you want to speak now?
Yeah.
I'm going to call on our Commissioner, Mary Lou. Come on, Commissioner Mary Lou. She always gets preference, doesn't she? Our Commissioner. Here you go, then.
And so is Bob Meinhof, one of our commissioners.
I get the preference because Bob knows I'll throw you out of here if you don't. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. One more time. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, that's much better. You're all awake now. First of all, people have been asking me where Megan is. And as you can see, she's not over there this morning. She sent me a text and said that her little boy wasn't feeling well and she might have to take him to the doctor. So I told her that was fine with us and I would send her greetings on to you. I would pass them on to you. And I do have to leave. I have a 10 o'clock conference call and I was going to use one of the rooms here, but they're all booked. It's the season and everybody's here doing their meetings, so I have to run over to my office so I have a place to do this conference call. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that when I walked in the door this morning, my heart gave a little jump because a good friend of ours, Barbara Katz, is not in her chair this morning. And if you do not know her, she passed away. And we miss her, and there will be a memorial service for her here at the Civic Center on Friday afternoon. I think it's at 3 o'clock if I remember right. So other than that, I don't have any news. I'm off to the Florida Association of Counties. I sit on one of the boards, and I have a conference call this morning. So I'll be in the back for a few minutes, and have a great meeting, and enjoy everything, and I will see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lou. I'd like to introduce to you those who haven't met him yet, our new Commissioner Weinrock, who had a part of our area within his area.
Thank you, Robert, and I'd like to introduce myself. This is my first time I've been up here as your District 4 Commissioner, and with Commissioner Berger, it's going to be my pleasure to be servicing all of your needs. I wanted to just bring up a couple of things that came up yesterday at the Commission meeting. Well, before I do that, I want to introduce a couple members of my staff. They're over here on the right. I have John Carter. John is in our office, mostly up in West Palm Beach, and Alexandra Ayala. She is in the Delray office. Freddie has retired, and Alex is taking over for her. So anything you need, I'll have some cards. Alex has got cards. Please grab them. And if you can't get a hold of Commissioner Berger, whether it's District 4 or District 5, please feel free to reach out to us, and we're a team up there, and we'll help you out. Two things that came up yesterday in the Commission meeting I think it's important that you know about. One is about the elections, and as you know, we have a new supervisor of elections, and whatever you think about that, the fact is that the new supervisor is working to make sure that our elections in the next cycle work well, and that she's going to have the equipment there to make sure that everything works, and if we do have recounts, we can do them properly. Two things that you should know that came out in our meeting yesterday, and I just learned this. It's something that's going to affect if you do vote by mail. I always thought that the signature card you did at the supervisor of elections was there until either you went and changed it or you stopped voting. But apparently when you go and register, or when you go and renew your license, and you know when you renew your license, it's sometimes a line and sometimes you're frustrated, so you're going to sign for your license quickly on one of those, those pads. So it's not really a good specimen of your signature, but you want to get out of there. Well, the problem is that that signature then gets downloaded into the supervisor of election system, and that is the signature that they will use to verify if your vote by mail envelope comes in. So if they don't match, now there's a problem. So there is going to be a way for you to check, and I'm sure that Wendy Link will be here at one of the meetings that she'll explain to you how you can verify your signature. But it's important, if you're going to vote by mail, that you make sure that your signature is the signature that's going to be on the envelope. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. We also, Commissioner Weiss and I, stressed to the supervisor that we would like to see vote by mails have a business reply envelope, which means it would have postage paid. And we're hopefully going to get that in the next cycle, which would make it a lot easier to vote by mail, and certainly we're going to look to have more and more participation. So remember that. One other item that came before the Commission yesterday, we're trying to put into effect an ID card for people who come into your homes who are caregivers. Right now, if you call an agency and ask them to send you a caregiver or an aide, they'll send someone out, but there's no way of telling if that's the person who's coming to your home. So they get the assignment, they call their friend and they say, okay, go do this because I don't want to work today. So you could have somebody in your home who hasn't been verified, who may have a criminal history, and we don't certainly want those people in your homes. So the Commission is working on a new ordinance, and hopefully we'll have this in effect next month, that they will get an ID card, and that will verify that the person that was dispatched by the healthcare agency or by whatever the agency is that's putting someone in your home is the person that is now standing in front of you. We don't want people in your homes that shouldn't be there, that could steal from you or could do something worse. So these are things that your commission is trying to do to make sure that you're safer. So again, it's great to meet you all, and feel free to reach out to Alex, to John, to me. Lucia's still up in West Palm Beach, and we're here to serve you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner, for all that good information, and we welcome you to our meetings anytime. Karen Brooks, he arrives late every time, so he's always at the bottom of the list. Come on, Karen.
I think it's only because I'm shrinking and nobody sees me anymore, but that's a factor of age. Good morning, everybody.
I used to be 6 foot tall.
Yes, yesterday I went for my annual physical and I stretched as high as I could, so I've only lost half an inch, so we're okay. But anyway, the first thing I want to do is tell you that on Friday, I just want to correct a little information. Here in the Civic Center from 2 to 4, it's going to be a celebration of Barbara Katz's life. So the family will be here, people will be speaking, but it's not going to be a memorial service. It'll be more just talking about all of the things that we loved about her and remembering her with her family. So I am your school board member, and I know that none of you have children in the schools. I don't anymore either, but oh my gosh, the face of public education is changing in this state. I know all of you have probably heard that the governor has announced that he's getting rid of our iteration of Common Core, which we call Florida State Standards. Now, it's not necessarily a very bad thing, because this teaching to the test takes out all the creativity in teaching. The problem we have as school board members is right now we're supposed to be doing textbook adoption. So how do we spend your taxpayer dollars on textbooks when we don't know what's coming up? You know, it used to be reading, writing, arithmetic, it was all very basic. Now, you know, if you do 1 + 1 is 2, it's wrong. You have to go through all these other, you know, ways of explaining it. So that's one thing we're dealing with. The other thing is, you know, that unfortunately Valentine's Day is the anniversary of that horrible massacre at Parkland. And, you know, no matter what we do, we have a lot of copycats with our children. And out in the public, the young adults. So we're gearing up. The school district started with the 17 days of kindness leading up to February 14th, where we had all kinds of suggestions. The schools partook in writing notes to their school police officer and thanking them. So we have that going on. We have all types of events, but we are geared up with the anticipation that we have to be on high alert. Very, very sad. This is not the world we grew up in. So I thank you for letting me speak. I'll keep you updated. Next month, I hope to report to you on, well, actually, I think I'm going to be in Tallahassee for Palm Beach County Day. So I may miss you next month, but when I come back again, I'll tell you all about our plans for mental health and supporting our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as you know, you come every month, and we always have a little something for everybody to have a cup of coffee and something to eat, and that's usually brought to us by a sponsor. Today we have a sponsor that we all know. I'm going to call on Neil Levine. Neil Levine is from Beth Israel Memorial Chapel. Come on up, Neil. Neil, where are you? Or which one of you two fine gentlemen are going to speak? You're going to speak, okay.
The Memorial Chapel. Beth Israel.
Morning. Well, that was different. Yeah, over 25 years, I guess, I've gotten accustomed when I get up to speak before organizations, I get the ughs or ohs, and wow, I actually got some applause. But I'll tell you something, I'll give you a statistic. 88% of the cases that we fulfill at Eternal Light and Beth Israel are prearranged. So I think that says something. We have a service we offer to the community, and it's well accepted by the community also. At Eternal Light, we offer full services to families, whether it's traditional in-ground burial, mausoleum entombment, or the ever upcoming cremation memorial services that we have at the cemetery. At Beth Israel, we have chapel services at one of our 2 chapels down here locally. We perform services at all the local cemeteries, cremation memorial services, veteran services, and of course send-outs for families. Why are we here? Matt, come on up. Come on up. Matt heads up our outreach division at Eternal Light and Beth Israel, and he speaks before organizations in our community. He's been speaking for a number of years to organizations. His talks are very dynamic. It's not doom and gloom. And at the end of his talks, actually, it's interesting. We always have a Q&A session, which is always very popular. So he's spoken to Orts, to Hadassah, to women's clubs, men's clubs, to the Brooklyn clubs, Italian American clubs. He's not picky. He'll talk to anybody. But the point is, he can give an interesting presentation to organizations, and we appreciate the opportunity for Matt to get out and meet with organizations in your communities. We appreciate the time you've given us this morning. We're here to support you, and Eternal Light and Beth Israel are here to support the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Montesquieu, I appreciate it. I'm going to introduce Dr. Laurie, but I have one thing. Some young lady in the audience came up and spoke to me at the beginning of the meeting. I said I would help her. That's okay. You have to come and see me at the end of the meeting, okay? Okay, Dr. Laurie Renegade, with all the news that's fit to print.
Well, we're going to have a great meeting here today. Just a few things about what's been going on. We had a terrific wellness screening expo this past Friday with the Delray Medical Center. So thank you, Delray Medical Center, for providing the blood screenings and all of the fantastic information with the Ask the Doctor and Ask the Pharmacist, everything else. This is being live streamed, this meeting, so I'm sure people are watching it from Delray Medical Center and all around the country, right? Thank you to Captain Rob Sant and to Sergeant Robert Yasik, who came and provided the Operation Pill Drop at the Delray Medical Center Alliance Expo, Wellness Screening Expo. And we're going to hold a most excellent nostalgic expo on February 21st, right here. And the information is right on those Nostalgic magazine, the front of it, where you're sitting, and you can come for pinball, popcorn, cupcakes, meet local businesses, exposure to culture and travel, financial information, and some fine cuisine too. About development, the most unbelievably futuristic cancer care center has opened on the campus of Delray Medical Center. The South Florida Proton Therapy Institute. It's one of the only 27 cancer centers in the country with this proton therapy capability. It really is fantastic, and it's open now, and the proton machine, that by the end of the summer, that'll be up and working, but the center's already open, and it really is a fantastic thing for us and for our community. It's the only center like that between Jacksonville and Miami. About the corner of Hagen Ranch Road and Atlantic Avenue, we were discussing that over the past, since September, October. We've been giving you updates on that. It's been postponed, so for at least 3 more months or so, there'll be cows there, of course. But then we'll know whether or not we're going to have a commercial development with a potential of 384,000 plus square feet and 88 units. Right now it has a site plan of 175,000 square feet of commercial. Or if there'll be 275 residential units with a maximum potential of 43,000 square feet, but the site plan shows 21,000 square feet. So it's either a very large commercial center or residential with some commercial, and either way we're working on it, and that's still a work in progress between the developer and staff, and the developers working more with the adjacent communities, and all that will be happening in the next few months. So we'll keep you informed. If anything comes out, you'll get it in newsletters and on the email. And one other thing, the solid waste contracts. We all know that we're having a little change in our solid waste system, and they're going over contracts now, so by April or so, we'll know how much our fees will be going up or down. Not a whole lot, but it'll either go up, but they may go down too for certain services. So we'll see, and we'll let you know all about that. Our program today is with Dorothy Jacks, our Palm Beach County property appraiser, and Ann Gannon, our constitutional tax collector. It's always wonderful when they come to speak here, they give us the update. So the first to go would be, remember, we get our property appraised and then we get taxed. So I think a good segue from one to the other would be starting with Dorothy Jacks. She's been our property appraiser for a couple of years now. She has over 3 decades of distinguished career in the office of the property appraiser, and she's a property appraiser and assessment administration specialist. She has the highest professional designation. Please help me welcome Dorothy Jacks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lori and Bob, for your warm welcome to me. Good morning. It's a complete pleasure to be with you today, and especially to talk with Ann Gannon. I think you've got the perfect synergy today of both valuation and collection, which is the 2 parts of property taxes in Florida. I want to just quickly make sure I introduce Mike Pratt, who is my outreach director, who is over here. Mike's with you almost every month, and always present, always able to answer questions. And also, very importantly, in the back of the room, Howie Zimmerman, who sits at the table with the orange cloth on it, with our name on it, and he can take your homestead exemption. Anytime you want to come to this meeting and file for homestead, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but Howie's always here. And we also have an office on Atlantic Avenue, very close by, Atlantic and Cumberland, thank you. I was going to say, basically at the corner where the Villages of Boreal starts. We're next door to the sheriff, the old library. See, lots of faces light up when I say those things. But we're always there, and I told somebody earlier, I like to compare our office. I feel a little sometimes like the Maytag repairman. You know, we wait there until somebody comes in to see us. So there's never a line, that's my point. So come on in and visit with us. The nice thing is what we do is we place our appraisal staff who work in the regions in the offices nearest to them. So if you have questions about the value of your community or your specific unit, go on in there and you'll actually get to meet with the person who does the valuation of that property. And also, more importantly, you can file for homestead exemption or any number of the other exemptions that we have. So we are what's known as a constitutional office. What that means is that I don't report to the county commissioners, I don't report to the legislators, I report to you. I am answerable to the voters of Palm Beach County, and I also follow, how I do my work is I follow the state statutes and the Constitution as to particularly property taxation and exemptions, and I do that for the entire county. So 630,000 parcels in Palm Beach County. As you know, we probably are close to 1.4 million people now, and we administer the valuation of those properties annually, which is how Florida does property valuation, and we also administer about 330,000 homestead exemptions, plus all of the additional exemptions. We also manage the county base map, and what that means is we're responsible for knowing who owns what and where it is. So that sounds sort of fairly simple, but actually it's a pretty complex process of constantly tracking transactions as they occur. When you buy or sell a property, a deed is filed with the clerk of the court. That information comes to us nightly, and we update our records to say, okay, now Mr. Smith owns that property. Sometimes that involves that a huge property is broken down into many individual lots. That's something that the property appraiser is responsible for making sure happens. There's about 70,000 transactions a year in Palm Beach County, so that's a pretty busy piece of our operation. And also, of course, the building that's going on. Every time a developer buys a huge tract of land and then breaks it into 200 or 300 individual units, that's happening. We handle about 100 plus what we call plats a year where that's going on, where property is being broken down. So a little bit about the tax roll, and then I'm going to talk more about exemptions. Palm Beach County is obviously a very, very growing county. I don't think that's lost on any of you driving around from place to place. We're now at $264 billion in market value from countywide. People often ask me, how does that compare to the height of the market prior to the Great Recession, where properties dove? And it's well beyond that. At the height of the market prior to the Great Recession, we were at $235 billion. So now we're at 264. So you can see we've eclipsed that, and we've kept on going. Much of that is not so much about reappraisal, but building. Because of course, every time anything is built, that is new value added to the tax roll for the first time. It would have been land only before that, and when something new is built, it's added to the tax roll. So 264 billion. Just for comparison's sake, we are the third most valuable county in the state after our neighbors to the south, Broward and Miami-Dade. Broward has about 800,000 parcels, and they came in, I'm going to use taxable value as a comparison. Our taxable value, 187 billion. That means how much people actually pay on. Theirs is 189 billion. So we're not far behind Broward in value. And that's probably simply because we, number one, have more room to build. Broward is somewhat built out. If you can imagine, Broward looks a little bit like an hourglass. The ocean comes in on the east, the Everglades come in on the west, and actually pretty much all of its land area that it can build on is built. So I suspect that probably in the next 10 years we may pass Broward in value as far as collection, simply because we still have a fair bit of land on which could be built on. Miami-Dade is well past both of us with a taxable value of $272 billion. So almost $100 billion more than where we are now. Miami-Dade is just an incredible county, close to 1 million parcels now and booming. A lot of investment money in Miami-Dade, also a lot of foreign money in Miami-Dade, a lot of South American money. What we see down there is a lot of people buy for investment purposes only. They want to hold on to something that's going to appreciate, a good safe place to put their money, so they tend to get a lot of purchasing going on from other countries. So we're proud of where we are in the lineup. I think we probably have one of the better offices. I have 234 staff. About 140 of those are appraisers. They are working in sort of sections or regions, and then they're also working in specialties. We have a separate commercial department from residential. We have an agricultural department. We have a tangible personal property department. All of those are working sort of within their specialty. We have a condominium department, very important for you all. Condominium also handles townhomes and zero lot lines because of the process for valuation is very similar among those three types of properties. So a little bit about what we're seeing coming in the market. I always think this is interesting. This year, I suspect we'll see a 3 to 5% increase in reappraisal. So in other words, not new construction, but just simply our homes appreciating. Looks like that kind of number. Our downtown cores are still growing. We're seeing a lot of development in the downtown. Certainly you've seen it east here in Delray Beach. One of the fastest growing as far as value markets in the county, probably followed certainly by West Palm Beach and Boca Raton, both of which have booming downtowns. We even are starting to see a downtown evolve in Jupiter, Florida, at the very north end of our county. Sort of an interesting little downtown evolving out of what used to be very sleepy suburban area is now coming to life around the river and around the Intracoastal Waterway there. Apartment complexes are hot, hot, hot. We had 20 new apartment complexes added to the roll last year and 11 more coming on this year. So quite a bit of growth there. Again, probably to do with the very moving nature of our millennials. They're happy to move. They don't seem to be that interested in buying property and settling down. And of course, jobs. People change jobs much more routinely than ever before. So the rental market, apartment buildings being rental buildings, is just doing very well and seems to have not stopped. The other place that's very hot is hotels. And this sort of surprised me when I first saw it, because I thought with Airbnb and places like that, the hotels wouldn't be doing well. But hotels are actually enjoying their highest profit margins since 1960. I mean, who knew, right? It sort of seems amazing, but think about it for a minute. Look around. You'll notice that there's hotel buildings going up all over the place. There are going to be 11 hotels added to the roll this year in Palm Beach County. That's a lot. But you know, they're apparently filling, because again, people don't usually make those investment decisions without knowing that there's going to be profit in it, although I say that when we had the condo crash 10 years, well, now 15 years ago, that was not the case. But we were amazed about this hotel. So look out for more coming in that area. And the other thing that's very interesting at the moment is warehousing. So warehousing, or what the business calls fulfillment centers, is another big area of growth. And that's really, I mean, pretty easy to understand, is to do with internet shopping. So in other words, people like Amazon need to get their product closer to the people that they are going to deliver it to, because it's all about speed. Your relationship with an online seller is going to be very much determined by how fast you get the thing you ordered. You know, the beauty of shopping is it's instant gratification, but with online shopping, that's not the case. So the faster you can get it, the better. I don't know if you've had that experience where I've ordered something from Amazon at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday and it's at my door at 5 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. It's incredible that they can do that. But how do they do that? Well, it's fulfillment centers, warehousing, where they're storing all of the product that they can very quickly move. And even more interesting is many of these fulfillment centers, their value is not in the sort of very simple structure that a warehouse would be. It's in the automated equipment that is inside the warehouse centers. So they're using robots to pretty much move all the product around, and those robots are very, very valuable. They're rather like medical equipment. It's a similar kind of very well-engineered machine. And so we find it interesting. It's just a sort of shift in our value, in our approach to buildings. Every time we turn around, there's some new interesting thing happening. So just on the exemptions front, we handed out to you earlier a brochure on additional exemptions, and I always like to make sure to stress this in case you or your neighbors might be qualified for one of these additional brochures. I don't have one in front of me. I know Mike Pratt will make sure if you don't have one, he's going to bring one up so everybody can see what it looks like. But the homestead exemption is, of course, the most significant exemption for property tax that you can have. It is for permanent residents of Florida who have made Florida their primary home. That's Mike's got it's just a threefold, thank you, Mike. It's just a threefold like this. If you don't have one, hold your hand up and Mike will get you one. Oh good, Mike, look, we got some people who need one. But while he's handing those out, homestead exemption, very important. The big thing is that you have to own and occupy on January 1st of the year in order to qualify. So those of you who go back to your communities, if you have people who moved in last year, please make sure that they know about or they've filed for their homestead exemption. The key is you do not have to give up another home that you've owned, but you do have to give up any benefit, residency-based benefit you may have received on that home. So do you see the distinction? It's no problem that you go somewhere else for a portion of the year, but you can only make one place your primary residence. And if you're going to qualify for homestead exemption, Florida has to be it. So a lot of people just need to make that decision about which place are they going to call their primary residence. And usually that is a financial decision. It's to do with either income taxes or it's to do with how they're managing their estate. But do mention to them that filing for homestead exemption is important and is going on right now. So these additional exemptions are if you have homestead already, you can apply for any one of these additional exemptions. And you'll see on this list, there's some nice benefits. There's a small widower benefit. There's also benefits for people who are permanently disabled, meaning confined to a wheelchair, blind, or hemiplegic or paraplegic. A lot of these benefits, though, do also have an income limitation attached to them. So what do I mean by that? I mean that you have to be low income. And low income is defined by the Florida statute as around $30,000 a year. All of that information is on this brochure, and I really want you to take a look at it when you have time. If you'd like a few more of these, just come by our table. We'll give them to you on the way out for your other residents and friends. Happy to do that. But always keep that in mind. I am going to stop talking and let Ann come up and talk. I know you'll probably have a lot of questions, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. I know we're going to do questions at the end, right? And but please know, our office is very committed to public service. We recently rebranded our slogan, and our new slogan is, "We value what you value." So we value your homes, but we also value our community. We value you and your families. We value our residents, and we're happy and here to help. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Terrific information. And now, our constitutional tax collector, Ann Gannon. She's been it for quite a while. I didn't put this on here how many years it's been. It's been a while. 10 years. 13 years, yes. But one important thing is that she's responsible for the collection and disbursement of over $3 billion in Palm Beach County tax revenues. And her agency also manages the issuance of those real IDs and compliant driver license and state-issued IDs. So please help me welcome Ann Gannon.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for having me this morning. And I want to thank our two great leaders here who keep this organization moving forward and keep you informed of what's going on in the community. Thank you all very much for your commitment to this organization. I am the constitutional tax collector. As Dorothy is a constitutional property appraiser, we don't answer to the county commission, or we don't answer to anyone but you, the voters, who actually put us in office. And our budgets are actually approved by the Department of Revenue in Tallahassee. Our agency is, as you know, 315 employees strong, who serve you through our 6 branch offices throughout the county. Our offices are challenging some days, to say the least. The average wait time in our office is about 38 minutes, but there are times when it's more. And as Dorothy talked about the growth in hotels and the growth in housing and the density in our cities, keep in mind that every time the city commission or the county commission adds another house to this county, they add 2.3 people to my office. Our offices in South County and downtown West Palm Beach, our office in Royal Palm Beach and out in Belglade are very small and limited. Those are all owned by the county. We are at our capacity with employees in those offices. So some days it's very challenging. Our new office in Lake Worth, we actually own that office, and we are in the process of building a new office in Palm Beach Gardens. We closed the little fort now. If you've ever been there or to the office in Lantana, I'll tell you a funny story. Those buildings are still standing, and it says on the front that our office is moved. It gives the address, and we still have people that go there and stand in line. It's just incredible that people don't read. and understand what's going on. But it's gotten to be funny in North County because there is a 6 by 10 foot billboard that says our office, this is the future home of the tax collector. And they still just drive up, park their car, come sit in front of the building. I'm not sure what they're waiting on some days, but our office moved over actually into the North County Government Center. Our office here in South County does TSA and fingerprinting. I know if many of you have seen those little cards you can get for TSA that allows you coming back in our country or going out to skip the long security lines. You can pay for that card, it's $100. I think it's $100. And you can use it to move through that process a lot more quickly. The fingerprinting is actually for employees that are required to get fingerprinted and background checked before they go to work for a specific company, or we do a lot of other government workers and fingerprint them for other agencies, but there is a cost to that also. We collected, or we billed last year about $3.7 billion, and I've rounded it off, but there's not much difference between the actual and this. And the number of bills that we mailed last year were 612,000, and the total parcels were 733,000 parcels that are in Palm Beach County. And the difference is, of course, the bills mailed and the parcels. There are some parcels that are actually struck to the county or government-owned, or that are billed, but the taxes traditionally are not paid by the county to us. The top 10 taxpayers in Palm Beach County, and I have to say it's not Donald Trump. Everybody thinks that, but it's not true. It's actually FP&L is our #1 taxpayer in Palm Beach County. And you can imagine that, all the land they must have to own to be able to meet the electricity needs of our county. And they are a very good community partner in many things that they do in Palm Beach County. There are our bed tax collections, which I've gotten pretty famous for because I think I'm the only person in Florida that's really taken on Airbnb and taken on HomeAway, because they do not want to play by the rules, and they want to make their own rules under Florida law and under Palm Beach County statutes. So we did, the judge ruled in the one lawsuit that we have had ongoing for the last 5 years, the judge ruled against us, but we are appealing the lawsuit because we don't believe his decision was correct. So we are going to the appellate court, and that will be filed sometime in the next 10 days to challenge that. The other issues that we have with them, as you know, we worked with the county commission to develop an ordinance in Palm Beach County which increased the tools for us to be able to collect bed taxes. And Dorothy talked about homestead. And let me first tell you, if you rent on Airbnb, we're not interested in homestead. We don't force that, that's her job. But I will tell you that anyone who does rent and registers in our county, those names are exempt from public records. So you have to have a neighbor call and snitch you out for them to go out and investigate it. There are some cities that are looking at creating ordinances right now, but most of those are very limited. Our belief in Palm Beach County is we're not interested in shutting them down. We're interested in them registering and paying the taxes. And we believe that that really is a much better focus on our time and our energy than to tell people what they can or cannot do with their properties. So in our bed tax collections, the total that we collected in 2017 was about $49.7 million. And in 2018, it was $44.1 million. And those dollars are critically important to Palm Beach County. Many of them are used to advertise nationwide and in Europe for people to come to our county. They come to our county, they spend money, they purchase things, they buy gas, they rent cars, and that makes our economy run. And it actually does help in the long run with our tax base here in Palm Beach County. We also fund avenues like the Children's Services Council and the Norton Museum, which is just reopening. We fund some of that. The Sports Authority. So those dollars are really critical to our economy here in Palm Beach County. And we are actually fighting to be able to do that advertising against counties like Miami-Dade and Broward, who put millions of dollars in advertising for people to come to their counties, because as you know, advertising is about, excuse me, it's about repetition, 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 and it's very expensive. And that's the way you get in the market, and then people come to our county and have a great time. I don't know why they wouldn't have a great time. It's a great county to live in, I think. And I hope all of you feel that way. Now, I don't know how many of you in this audience have already paid off your mortgage for your house, but as you know, we do have an installment plan that you can pay your taxes quarterly. You have to sign up by the end of April to do that, and it's 4 quarterly payments. It makes it easier for people to budget who are on limited incomes, especially retirement people. So if you all are interested in that, you can go pull that off our website and just send in the form before April 30th. We have to have it under the Florida statutes. We also have and I say this with tongue-in-cheek, the dubious honor of doing driver's license, thanks to the Florida legislature. And we do titles and registrations. Driver's license has actually become about 51% of our business. And what happens with driver's licenses is we get paid a fee to do them, but the fee does not cover our costs. So what happens is those property taxes that you pay, we receive a fee for collecting them, but those property taxes have now begun to subsidize driver's license and titles and registration. And it's really not fair to the people who own property in our county. But the legislature is probably not going to change that anytime soon, because then they would have to give us the money to be able to fund these at a higher rate of services. And just the cost of one employee in our office, an entry-level employee, is about $80,000 a year, with her salary and all the benefits, all the federal benefits that we have to pay. So it's challenging to try and figure all this out. We do run our agency. We do not get any kind of general revenue from the state or taxes from the county. Our agency is actually run with fees that we use when you come in our office and do a transaction. Typically, we use about 29 million of those fees, and the rest we give back to the taxing districts that we collect on behalf of. We probably give about $35 million back to the county, the school board, and all of those people. And just keep in mind, the more efficient that we operate, the more money we have to give back so the community can actually use it. So it's really incumbent upon us to look at how we create better efficiencies in our office so that we don't, that the community benefits from those fees. I'm open to questions, as I'm sure Dorothy is. And if you have any questions about my office or Dorothy's, we'd be glad to answer them. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
You could step right up here. We have come up here and
maybe they can hear me from here, Laurie.
I can.
What is the average waiting time to have a driver's license renewed? I know my wife's license expired in October. We filed for renewal in August. Her birthday came and went, and still the license had not been issued, although we did find out from Tallahassee that it had been granted.
So you're telling me she did not get her license?
Ultimately, she did, but it was like 3 weeks past her birthday and almost 2.5 months after we filed for it.
And you went on our website and did that, or you mailed it into Tallahassee?
No, we mailed it in.
Okay. I would have to check that out, but typically, once that comes into our office, that is done within four days. I mean, you should receive it by then. So I don't know what the issue was with that.
Well, I just tried to renew mine, and it's been 3 weeks already, and I haven't heard a word.
You renewed it through the mail?
Yes.
Or you renewed it on the internet?
Through the mail.
Well, you need to give me your name, and I will check on that. I will tell you that during our busy season in November and December, sometimes that mail is put aside, but your driver's license notice goes out 90 days prior to the renewal. And if you send it in, you should get it. So we need to talk when this is over, okay?
There's a microphone here. Someone from the general public.
Just a quick question. You mentioned that you issue a TSA card. And how is that different from the global entry that you pay for?
The global entry is actually done through the Port of Palm Beach, or there's an office in.
But how are the rights that you have with the global entry card different from what?
I don't know. I'm sorry, your global entry would allow you to travel internationally and come back in the country.
But
Yeah.
not the TSA?
No, only in this country.
Okay, any other questions? We have, okay, come right up here.
I can yell. I just wanted to ask quickly, the additional homestead, is that something that has to be filed for, like we did originally?
No. So sorry. No. Thank you, that's a great question though. No, the additional homestead is automatic if you qualify for it. So what I mean by that is how homestead works is everybody gets the first $25,000 from 0 to $25,000 of assessed value exempted. That's homestead number one. The second homestead, or additional homestead, actually affects from $50,000 to $75,000 in value. So everyone pays nothing on the first 25, everyone pays on the second 25, and then the third 25, 50 to 75, is the additional. Why I say if you qualify for it, some units are not valued above $50,000. So what that means is they would pay tax from 25 to 50, but not be eligible for the second or additional homestead. So if your value is over $75,000, you are getting the second additional homestead. Okay? If your value isn't over $50,000 to $75,000, then you are not getting it simply because you're not affected by it, right? And you know, we did have on the ballot in November a third homestead last November, and it failed. Interestingly, yay! I mean, you might not say yay, but the taxing authorities said yay. But the vote was 58% for it. But in Florida, a constitutional amendment must pass by 60%. So although it hit the majority mark, it didn't hit the 60% mark. So that one would have been from 100 to 125. A lot of people wouldn't have received it, bottom line. But anyway, it didn't pass. But yes, the long answer to the short question, yes, you are automatically qualified for it.
Thank you.
Good morning. I am currently paying my tax quarterly. If I wanted to change that to once a year and get the 4% discount, how do I do that?
You would just call our office and we could change that. But if you're on the installment plan, you lose like maybe 0.25%.
Oh, that's all.
It's very small. So if that installment plan works for you, I would keep it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, wow. What a terrific meeting. Thank you so much for all that information. And you know, we always send out on email to our very large email distribution list. We always send out, thank you, our tax collector and our property appraisers newsletters. Every time they write one every month and you all get it. If you're not on our email list, let me know and you'll be put on it. And our newsletter that actually goes out by the United States Postal Service, if you're a delegate or president, you're supposed to be receiving one of those. So if there's any problem with that, you let us know too. And we will see you next month. Thank you.